Hi guys, and welcome to another video. So as you can probably tell by the thumbnail and the title of the video as well, there's a lot been going on over the last 2 or 3 days regarding Sunderland and transfer news and transfer rumours, and we've got a lot to get through today to get you all caught up on as well. We'll start off with the more sort of negative news, if you will, and that is potential outgoings and transfers not going according to plan. So potential outgoings, it's always going to happen. It was always going to happen. Jack Clarke. So it was officially announced yesterday, well I say officially, it was officially reported yesterday that Ipswich came back in again. Apparently we have had a lot of teams, Leeds, Ipswich, Southampton and the like, come in for Jack over the last month or so. However, their valuation of Jack hasn't met ours at all. But this one apparently is getting close. So Ipswich have originally put in a £15 million bid, reportedly, with add-ons as well. Now, I'm led to believe that that was actually rejected. However, I'm also led to believe that they are more than willing to put that bid up to 20 million plus add-ons as well. And I think coming from a Premier League club, personally, I think that's going to make it incredibly difficult for us to keep hold of Jack Clarke, particularly if it actually tempts him. And, you know, and he does like the challenge, which I thought it was always going to happen. However, I just think that might be something that we just couldn't say no to. If they offered us 20 million and then add-ons that rose maybe to around 25 million or above, I'd personally like to see about 25, 30 million for Jack Clarke. I don't want him to leave. However, he's got a couple of years left on his deal, and I'd rather, even though I've said him in the past, Jack Clarke is a brilliant professional, I believe, particularly with the ridiculous, absolute, unprofessional, pathetic agent that he's got in Ian Hart, which we're going to get into in a minute. I still think, for a young lad, he has such a good head on his shoulders, and he cracks on anyway. That's the biggest sort of credit I can give to Jack Clarke. Not only is he a fantastic player, but he cracks it, he gets his head down, cracks on with it, despite his agent spouting off shit and stirring the pot about his career and all this talk about him maybe going to the Premier League. He's never sulked, he's not got his head down, he's not putting in terrible performances and clearly not putting a shift in. He's still enjoying his football at Sunderland, which is great, and I don't think it would be the worst thing for him to stay for at least another year. But, like I say, if Ipswich are willing to move to around the £20 million mark and then add-ons, it's going to be a very difficult sell to Jack Clarke to say no, stay here off. It depends. It all depends. But I think the club will accept that if Ipswich are to up the bid even just a little bit. But I'm just looking at other players that have gone of his sort of age, that have gone from other clubs that you see going for 30 plus million. I just don't think it would be absolutely ridiculous for us to try and hold out for that. But at the same time, if you've got a 25 million bid and you've got a little bit of time to maybe bring someone else in, then maybe yes. I'd never want to see Jack Clarke go, but it's just something that I've always thought was inevitable. Now onto his agent, Ian Hart, he's just such a rat, man. He's an absolute rat. Now, I've mentioned it before. He's gone on to podcasts in mid-season last year, or towards the back end of last year. He's gone on to podcasts. He's openly saying that he wants to try and get Jack Clarke a move away. He openly discussed in depth the deals that he tried to already get for Jack Clarke to get him away from the club, but Jack Clarke decided to stay, and then he was saying we'll try and get it again in the summer. It's so unprofessional. And then he's popped up the other day on Twitter, of all places. It's just so unprofessional. How the hell someone of Jack Clarke's ilk is with someone like Ian Hart? It baffles me as it is. But it's essentially, it might seem harmless to a lot of people, but it was basically a stat that shows that Jack Clarke is, I think it's the most attacking contribution in the league in the Championship over the last year or 16 months or 18 months or whatever it is. And he just posted that with no caption, no nothing, as if to say, right, come on, so someone come and get him. It just stunk of desperation, and it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic and so unprofessional. Again, I know what agents are like. A lot of them, they're scummy. They are a bit rat bags anyway, aren't they? With the way that they are. But yeah, for him, he's just constantly just really trying to force a move, and it seems like it just isn't taking Jack Clarke's sort of well-being into consideration whatsoever. You know, I'm guessing he has conversations with Jack, but just leave that behind closed doors. He comes across as an utter arsehole. But either way, yeah. So what do you guys think about the whole Jack Clarke debacle at the moment? It's a difficult one. If we get upwards of 25 million, I find it very hard for the club to say no, and it's somewhat understandable. The only thing that will frustrate me is if this does drag on until 2 days, 3 days before the transfer window ends, and then he goes, and then we've got 2 days to try and replace, you know, because we might have had in our game plan, as we're going to keep Jack Clarke, we might have had those kind of, not promises, but we might have had those hints from Jack that he wants to stay, and I think if no one come in, then he probably wouldn't mind staying at all. I just think he's that kind of lad. But yeah, I think it would make it very difficult, particularly if it does only get accepted with a day or two left the window and we have no one to replace. But we will push on to another debacle. Alejandro Mendy, it's another one which I've mentioned in loads of videos now, and that is just, it seems to be a circus that is just ongoing and we're going in circles with it. So of course last time we did discuss it on the channel with Alejandro Mendy, the point of position seemed to be that we had a deal on the table that the previous ownership had apparently accepted. Mendy wants to come. Mendy had told the club in July that he chose to go to Sunderland, but then the whole new ownership came in. They've taken over and they're putting a block on the deal at the moment, and they're trying to basically force him to stay against his will. And even Mendy's agent came out and said we've tried to be as professional as possible. We told them in January we're not going to be here. In June, I think it was, sorry, not July, that we were told them where the destinations were going to go, and we were told that we promised that we'd be allowed to do that. But then, of course, Mbappe and family and that company that have taken over this club, they've put a block in it and they want him to stay and they try to force it. So that's where we were at. But apparently, news is that we have withdrawn ourselves from the entire situation, which is understandable. There's not long left of the window and they're just taking the piss. But the only thing is now, Mendy's going to be sat there a very unhappy man. He's not going to want to play for that club. So it's one of them. But then literally an hour or two after news of us apparently withdrawing, we're possibly withdrawing from that deal, was that we have actually not withdrawn at all. And we have made an offer of upwards of €4 million plus €2 million add-ons as well, which apparently they rejected. And then we upped it to €6 million plus €2 million add-ons, which sat there for over a week. And then we've withdrawn because they just didn't even come back to us. Those are the reports. And since then, there's been rumours and reports that we're still in, it's still on the cards. They're just digging their heels in, but it's still on the cards. So your guess is as good as mine with that one. But it's annoying because it feels like it's all there, it's set, and it's ready to come. And yes, he might be 30 years of age, but his experience, which is what we need in the squad, particularly in that department, someone who's scored upwards of 50, 60 goals over the course of 3 seasons, regardless of the league, the second division in France, and he wants to come to us, despite apparently there's loads of other clubs after him, and he wants to come to us. I kind of understand the club's positioning. I want to kind of hang around just in case, because that is an incredible talent to bring to the club if he is to come. But that is the kind of situation at the minute. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. But let me know what you guys would do anyway. But anyway, there's another couple of rumours to round the video off. We have SIMIC, SIMIC, who... This is a mad one. That's only come up this morning, SIMIC. Now, SIMIC, I don't know how you guys would know the name. The only way I knew the name SIMIC, really, was from Football Manager. For many years now, he's been one of those where he's been the sort of hot shot talents. If you have a look over the years in the sort of, the lists of high potential youngsters, not just for Football Manager, but in the world anyway, in the sort of top 50 or whatever, he's been on that list for years now. And this feels like a name that should really be out of our reach, but it's been heavily rumoured this morning and reported that we are putting an ambitious bid for him to come to the club. He's 6'3". I think he went out on loan. He was at Salzburg at the moment, but he went out on loan, and this is when it all started going mad around him. The sort of flurry went on around him. I think he went out on loan maybe 2-3 years ago, possibly. I think he went to the second tier in La Liga, should I say, and he scored a ridiculous amount of goals. It was something like 20 odd goals in 24 games or 19 goals in 24 games. I could be getting that incorrect, but it's around that sort of goal income, and it was and it's for him at that age, he would have been 16 maybe 17, which is obviously a cracking return. But then since then he's gone back. He's had a couple of loans here and there. He's played for Salzburg Champions League football, a few goals here and there, and a few assists. Nothing too crazy, but you can see, even if you just looked at him and watched him a handful of times, he is a very, very exciting talent. And if we do end up getting him, then that would be mental. That would be absolutely mental. So That's a rumour. I'm not going to go too overboard, but that is a rumour that's been going around as of this morning. We'll just round up the video. It is someone who has been rumoured, again, they're all rumours, but has been reported that we are interested in Wilson Isidor, a striker for Zenit St. Petersburg. Similarly to SIMIC, he had a breakthrough loan deal 2 or 3 years ago where he scored a stupid amount of goals, or 18, 19 goals in 20-something games, again, very similar to SIMIC. And then he's played for Zenit St. Petersburg. He's played for Monaco. He's bounced around different loan deals as well. And it was only not so long ago where I believe Lyon were looking at him as well, which only speaks volumes. I believe he's 22, 23 years of age, again a young striker. I think he can play on the wing as well. Which might actually be the replacement for Jacques. But yeah, he knows where the back of the net is. From little bits I've seen of him, and again, this is all me just looking at little clips here and there, and it always makes a player maybe look better than what he is. I haven't sat and watched him for 90 minutes with a lot of these players. But he does look exciting, quick, strong, and you know, like I say, he knows where the back of the net is. And apparently that is supposedly a loan deal with an option to buy. So I'm not too sure how true that is or how any of this is, but it's just transfer updates to keep you guys up to date. So that is everything at the moment, guys. If anything does come through, I will, of course, let you guys know as soon as I do and as soon as I can. But that is everything at the moment in a nutshell. Something could change today because it's coming towards the back end. We've only got a week or so left of the transfer window, and I feel it's going to get really messy towards the back end of it. I can just feel it. But anyway, what do you guys think about everything mentioned in this video? Are you excited? Would you be disappointed with letting Jacques go for said fee? What do you think? What would be your fee to let Jacques go? It's a difficult one. The Mendy deal, should we just forget it or should we keep on going? Should we hang around a bit more? SIMIC, Isidor, what do you think about those as well? But if you've enjoyed, hit the like button for me. It'd be massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, take care and stay jammy.